Come on in, welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the most robbed Survivor players of all time. I was so excited to talk about the most robbed players in Survivor history that I'm actually dropping this video a day early. I just couldn't wait. Fans have long debated who was the most robbed player in history. Was it Cirie, who went home by default in Survivor Game Changers? Maybe Devin and Chrissy, who had their shot at winning Final Tribal Council snatched away by the surprise introduction of Final Four firemaking. Or maybe it's someone less well-known, like Jenny in Survivor Cook Islands, the victim of some bullshit in a bottle. Wrong, it's none of them. There are actually 5 players who were even more robbed than all of the above. Who are they? Let's find out as we dig into Survivor's most robbed players of all time. At number 5 is the General in Survivor Marquesas. This man is easily in the top 5 most robbed players of all time. The General was a member of the Row 2-4 Alliance, a tight foursome which was controlling this season until Nalia and Pascal flipped on them, causing them to get pagonged one by one. No one in Survivor history at the time had ever gone from on top to all the way on the bottom, and this was a seismic, meta-changing shift in how the game of Survivor was played. We can thank Nalia and Pascal, and by extension Vecepia, Kathy, and Sean, for all the dynamic gameplay we see nowadays. Doesn't mean my man wasn't robbed. He was a loyal and likable guy, and only ended up screwed over because his allies were a combination of arrogant, even more arrogant, and whatever Zoe is. It's time we give the General his due as easily one of the top 5 most robbed players. He ended up on the wrong side of this shift through no real fault of his own, other than poor choice in allies, which who was he supposed to align with on Row 2? This weirdo? At number 4 is Jean Robert in Survivor China. You know, some may say that Jean Robert Bellen's last name actually perfectly describes his entire personality, but those people just don't know the magnificence of Jean Robert. No one has ever come into the game of Survivor with the skill set Jean Robert brought, from his challenge strength, his charm and humility, and his strategic mastery of the game. Jean Robert really had it all. Unfortunately, there was one woman on his season so jealous of him she would stop at nothing to get him out. Courtney. Courtney was so jealous of Jean Robert that she targeted him at Tribal Council after Tribal Council after Tribal Council, purely out of spite. Of course, because Jean Robert is Jean Robert, he barely even notices her. He's like Bison in Street Fighter. The day Jean Robert came to Fei Long was the worst day of her life. For him, it was Tuesday. Courtney does end up getting her way at Final 9 when she rallies Todd, Amanda, James, and Frosty to vote him out, ending a 24-long-day crusade born out of jealousy, once again only of his charming personality, peak athleticism, and strategic acumen. Thankfully, Jean Robert did get his flowers at Final Tribal, when Todd admits that Jean Robert is, of course, the greatest player of all time, duh, and that they had to get him out when they did, or else he'd easily get to the end and unanimously win a 13-0-0 vote. The pre-mergers would come back just to vote for him. Jean Robert is one of the most robbed players ever because no one else in Survivor history has been the target of such an unjustified hatred and bullying campaign, and it's a testament to Jean Robert's skill at the game that he made it to Final 9 against such odds, proving that he truly is a Survivor god, and once again, not a complete bell end. At number 3 is Cestronino in Survivor Amazon. Oh yeah, now we're talking. This guy was robbed for sure. Rob Cestronino played one of the most influential games of all time out there in the Amazon jungle. In a time period when the prevailing winning strategy was just finding the dumbest people you could and going all the way to the top with them, Rob said, "What if I did that, but also just completely backstabbed everyone else I met along the way, too?" This would prove a seismic shift in the strategy of the game, laying a flip-floppy blueprint that future players like Johnny Fairplay and Todd would base their own games on. It was so game-changing that heading into All-Stars, he had a target on his back comparable to the winners. And Rob deserved to be a Survivor winner. His Amazon game is incredible, but he was robbed by a stupid challenge. I mean, what even is this final 3? Holding a headdress above your head? He already held the entire season on his shoulders. What more do you want? Jenna ends up winning this challenge, which, expected. She was winning so many immunities, she was just giving them away. But instead of taking Rob to the final 2, final girl Jenna took this season's creepy little Jason Voorhees impersonator to the end with her instead. Rob was one of our first fallen angels, the final juror the show positions as the person who should have won, and legends like Terry, Sari, David, and Jesse would all follow in his wake. He was straight up robbed, and he was so frustrated by this he actually disappeared from the Survivor community forever, and no one ever heard a word out of his mouth. Never again. At number 2 is Boston Rob in Survivor All-Stars. You literally cannot talk about robbed survivors without talking about Boston Rob. This guy was so robbed, it wasn't even funny. Survivor had never seen the type of game Boston Rob pulled in Survivor All-Stars. No one had exhibited such a tight level of control over every aspect of the game. In All-Stars, Boston Rob had a mafioso's grip on every tribe he was on, from day 1 to day 39. And nothing happened on any tribe he was on without him knowing about it. If you look at the top 2 games of all time in terms of the level of knowledge and control exerted over the players, numbers 1 and 2 are both Rob. In All-Stars, he got to Final 2 with his island girlfriend Amber, who he made his island wife at the reunion. And yet, despite his unprecedented level of strategic control, this bitter jury refused to award him the prize, and instead voted for Amber to win the game. Why? What's the problem, guys? Was it the mean-spirited gameplay? The pointless Final 2 deals that only caused the jury to feel extra betrayed when they got voted out? The mocking of other players' family members? Get over it. This is the biggest Boston robbery since Brinks in 1950. Sure, Rob got a wonderful wife and family out of his stint on Survivor, won a car, became BFFs with Probst, started his poker career, got his wedding paid for by CBS, returned to play Survivor and other CBS reality shows like 17 Times and won, became a reality TV legend and arguably the most well-known Survivor player of all time, and had a literal giant statue made of his head on the show, but, yeah, still robbed. Sure. The most robbed Survivor player of all time is Rob in Survivor Thailand. This guy was so robbed, he has 2 B's in his name.
2 B's, guys.
There's never been a guy this robbed on Survivor before. He was so robbed, he lost to a bunch of rules. In episode 3 of Thailand, the reward challenge has players racing along a bamboo course above water. If at any point players from opposing tribes meet, they can enter the attack zone, where they can grapple and knock each other off course. So Rob's flying through this course, then Clay has the nerve to get in his way in the attack zone. So Rob dispatches him. Then annoying rules lawyer Jeff is like, oh no, Rob, not every teeny tiny little part of you was in the attack zone, you're disqualified. And also, you can't choke old men, apparently. Lousy ref Jeff DQs like 4 members of Sukjai, and they lose the challenge, the first challenge they've lost so far. This sets off a cascading series of immunity losses for them, culminating in Rob's elimination in episode 6. Winning this challenge would have allowed Sukjai to keep momentum. They would have gone to the merge with numbers, and Rob would have easily skated his way to the final 2, where his social awareness, calm head under pressure, and rad kickflips would have undoubtedly been rewarded handsomely by the jury. Instead, Jeff was the most pedantic little rules lawyer in history. So what if every little toe wasn't in the attack zone? So what if Clay couldn't breathe for a few teensy weeny seconds? Show me in the Survivor rulebook where it says you can't choke other players. Okay, it mentions it 5 or 6 times? Oh. Got nothing else for ya. If you can think of any other super robbed players, let me know in the comments below. I think I got them all though. Until next time, don't get idled out.